So next, I have the absolute pleasure of introducing Adam Hayes. While many athletes are known for their ability to excel in one sport, Hayes competes in cycling, soccer, alpine skiing, basketball, and aquatics, which is multiple. Hayes is the co-founder of the Maryland Media in Motion, a platform from which he can inspire and empower those with intellectual disabilities. Hayes has been involved with the Special Olympics Maryland for 21 years now, and today is going to teach us about some of the opportunities he has had, along with where he sees for room for improvement. Let me introduce Adam.
I was not there in South Bend, Indiana, when the founder of Special Olympics, Eunice Kinney Shriver, said these words. In fact, I was only 3 years old. I first heard these words when I was 25. They spoke to me as if I was in a crowd of thousands that night. Thousands of athletes with intellectual disabilities from over 120 countries that night. They lifted me up and told me I had a place in my community, that I belonged. Reaching across time and space to show me what her vision for individuals with intellectual disabilities and what path she laid before the United States and the world. And yet, we are no further ahead from the day she spoke these words on August 2nd, 1987, than this moment right now. I knew that the speech was more about how Eunice Kinney Shriver wanted the world to be. Not what it was at that time. She was setting the scene for what the world would look like where opportunities are not limited by disabilities. Where the simplest of things that each one of you expect to have in your life should also be available to me and my friends. Equal opportunities, education, a job after your education. At least that's what you hope for, right? A place to call your own. A home, however you define it. Being part of a community. I want to be inspired by these words, and I was. But you know what? I just don't believe them. Because we weren't there then, and we are not there now. This may sound cynical, but the days of segregation and separation for persons with intellectual disabilities are not over. Recent reports estimate 1.3 million adults in the United States have an intellectual disability, according to the Brock 2010 article. Do I have the right to play on any playing field? 72.1% of people with disabilities take part in no sport or physical activity, compared to 47.8% of people without. Do I have the right to study in any school? Do I have the right to study in any school? Only 44% of students with intellectual disabilities who are served by the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act received their high school diplomas. Do I have the right to hold a job? Only 44% of adults with intellectual disabilities aged 21 through 64 are in the labor force. This is compared to 83% of working age adults with disabilities who are in the labor force. Do I have the right to be anyone's neighbor? 66% of adults with intellectual disabilities were living with relatives. Only 4% of individuals with intellectual disabilities live independently. So how does this fit into today's TEDx talks? It is not technology or entertainment, but I think it is a matter of design. SpecialOlympics was started in Rockville, Maryland, just up the road from here. Based on the foundation and the principle that through sport, it will help persons with intellectual disabilities participate as productive and respective members of society at large, by offering them a fair opportunity to develop and demonstrate their skills and talents through sports training and competition, and by increasing the public's awareness of their capabilities and needs. It is words that inspire action, but they are only just words if no action are born from them. It was not enough for Eunice Kennedy Shriver to share her belief. Individuals with intellectual disabilities may have the right to all these things, but saying it so clearly doesn't mean it became so. So how does this represent forward then? So I took these words and I made them into action. The right to play on any playing field? You betcha. How about fields and courts, roadways, pools, and mountains? How about the 5 sports I participate in throughout the year? I road cycle nearly 1,200 miles a year, all around the area. The right to study in any school? Check. I earned my high school diploma and then my associate's degree in visual communications. The right to hold a job? I just celebrated my 10th anniversary at SpecialOlympics, Maryland. The right to be anyone's neighbor? Recently, I passed my first full year of living on my own in my own apartment in my community. My second home for years has been Johns Hopkins Hospital. Due to a condition known as hydrocephalus, or water on the brain, I have had 34 major brain surgeries in my 32 years of life. I have had challenge after challenge thrown in front of me. Reason after reason not to move ahead. To be held back. To give up. Once I was told I would never graduate high school or college. My parents were told I may not live the night before my first brain surgery. People were not sure I could even travel on my own, or drive for that matter. That someone with an intellectual disability could travel the country and the world to speak about the impact of Special Olympics has had on me, my family, and my friends. So who is going to push us forward? In the end, forward is not about technology or entertainment that will push me forward. Don't get me wrong, they will help. A driverless car would help me get even further than my driver's license does now. iPads and apps are becoming people's voices for the first time, expanding personal choice and increasing independence for some. No. In the end, it is about society's attitude and perceptions of what I can do. It is my mission to drive forward through those ceilings that have been set. And in the end, that is the subtle brilliance of the design that Eunice Kennedy Shriver came up with years ago that helped me do that. Thank you.